Hey guys, welcome back to Character Design, a Tuts Plus premium course. I'm Ian Yates, and in this video we're going to talk about practicalities. Let's begin by taking a quick look at what we're going to cover during this video. Well, we'll begin by talking again about the intended use of our character. We'll talk about various practical considerations, including his movement. Thirdly, we'll think about potential additional uses. Lastly, we'll finish off with some further reading, and I'll leave you with an assignment to complete before the next video. So then, practicalities. Boring, I know, but it's worth considering the practicalities of your job as an illustrator when designing this character. When we're talking about large-scale projects, film production and feature-length animation, character design is the task of a number of individuals. The storyboarding, animation, colouring, line work, and many other related tasks may well be done by other team members. Your design could potentially be executed by other artists, who may have your head on a plate if you make their job needlessly difficult. Of course, as a designer, it's your role to be creative and come up with solutions. But bear in mind a few practicalities when illustrating, and you might save yourself, or others, headaches further down the road. Now, the intended use for your character is obviously an important factor. In our case, we're dealing with a character to accompany this series. He might be found in promotional material, printed books perhaps, email campaigns, though in all likelihood primarily on this website. We have no intention of animating him, though you never know. We have no intention of having him rendered as a 3D model, though again you never know. In principle, we're therefore reasonably unrestricted in terms of practicalities. However we choose to design our character, in whatever materials, whatever line or colouring effects, we're dealing with a limited number of static images, nothing too problematic. However, if our character were to be animated, we might find ourselves having to draw him thousands and thousands of times, depending on the animation technique. In that case, we'd be advised to make him as simple as possible. Overly complex forms and lines will give us a headache before too long. Comic strips are the same. Ever read a Garfield comic? Jim Davis, the man behind Garfield, has, albeit over the course of time, developed Garfield and his co-stars into easily repeated forms. The line work has become second nature to him, to such an extent that if you asked him to illustrate in another style, I think he'd probably struggle. The artist, though, has to draw his characters hundreds of thousands of times, and he needs to be able to do so with a certain amount of speed. When you're drawing comic strips, you need to be able to put your ideas down visually as fast as you conceive them. Tempo is very important if you're going to keep the funny stuff rolling out. As a result, the frames in each Garfield strip are usually very generic. There's a tabletop, characters, potentially a prop. They've been designed with practicality in mind. So where repetition is likely, think about the line qualities and the complexities of your design's execution. So we've spoken a little bit about the practicalities of execution. Now in our case we're still sketching things, and ultimately, as you'll see in a later video, we're going to be swapping out our sketch lines for much cleaner vectors within a program like Adobe Illustrator, for example. So in terms of repeating and duplicating our character, we're going to have objects on a computer where we can copy and paste at will and duplicate and repeat as much as we feel like. That's not going to be a problem in our situation. But in addition to that, what we should consider are the practicalities of our character himself. Does his current design restrict him in certain circumstances? Let's draw for a minute our student character as we know him at the moment. So we've got the familiar light bulb head, some kind of a nose, little satisfied smile, and body parts in proportions much like this. Okay, now let's try and draw him reaching for this box. So here goes the head once more, and his body. Really looking wry smile. His legs and his now there we go. We've come across a problem already. Now, if this is going to be a situation our character is going to find himself in often, then we're going to need to consider some solutions. His arms are too short for reaching things above his bulbous, brainy head. Now, I suppose longer arms, that would solve things, or maybe a contorted spine of some kind. There are plenty of cartoony solutions for this problem, but we certainly need to make sure our character can physically carry out any roles we give him. In all likelihood, our character will take on his most defining characteristics during the layout stages of the process. In the case of animation, this is the storyboarding stage, at which point our character would be drawn hundreds of times, carrying out his role, doing what he does. It's at this point that impracticalities in his design will become all too apparent. Alright, time for some further reading. If you Google John Kricfalusi, or however you pronounce that, or John K as he's better known, you'll find a ton of blog resources in which he discusses everything from character design to animation. You'll probably know him best as the man behind Ren and Stimpy. Check out this blog entry in which he discusses designing characters from commercials. In it, he talks about the practicalities of designing with client practicalities in mind, restrictions and roles dictated by third parties. Now, as usual, we'll round off with an assignment. Continue to think about our student character, but think now about some of the final poses you'll draw him in. Consider any problems with his current design which will make drawing him in his role difficult. Try then to think of solutions. Next time on character design, we're going to look at giving our student context. My name's Ian Yates, and from all of us here at Tuts Plus, thanks for watching.